we're surprised, very surprised, where we are now. If you said to me on September the 14th, 2008, would WPP's revenues, say, in the second half of last year be back to where they were pre-Lehman or pre-monoline crisis or pre-subprime crisis, I would have said, you need your head examined. So America behaved really like a faster-growing market last year. Part of that was dead cat bounce, but part of it was also due to the fact, I think, that American corporates and Western corporates are really uncertain, and I don't think last night's speech really gets us further in terms of removing that uncertainty.
But if you look out to 2020, on balance, the average age of the population in China and the US will be about the same, 37 or 38 years old. On balance, the average age of the population in Western Europe and Japan will be about the same, and it's going to be 47 or 48 years old. And on balance, the average age of the population in India and the Middle East is going to be 27 or 28 years old. This has enormous impact on an array of policy issues and certainly on economic prosperity and growth.
There is no growth, and actually there is still outright contraction in most of the periphery. And if you're not going to have economic growth, you'll have two problems. One is the social and political backlash against austerity and reform is going to become worse because people don't see light at the end of the tunnel. Two, you have to stabilize debt and deficits in the private and public sector as a share of GDP. If GDP keeps on falling, stabilizing this thing, even with austerity, is not going to happen. And I don't think there is a strategy for resuming economic growth in the periphery of Eurozone. The policy of the ECB is too tight, the euro is too strong, there is fiscal austerity, there is a negative effect, however necessary, on economic growth, and there is no economic growth, there is continued contraction.
Emerging market in Asia also got to be very careful because there's a 1 billion people living in the advanced economy, 3 billion people living in the emerging market. If you ask everyone in the emerging market, what is your life model in tomorrow? Right. They will say American life, a big house and big cars and a 4x4 UPS.
The problems we're facing are global, whether it's global imbalances, monetary and financial stability, climate change, energy security, food security, trade issues, and so on. And the G7 or the G8 became obsolete, and now we have moved to G20. But there is not much cooperation occurring. You know, on monetary and fiscal, on exchange rate, there is disagreement, but also on the bigger long-term picture issues from trade to climate change to what to do with energy, there is no agreement. So instead of having a G20, I think we're going to a world that is a G0 world, in which there is no leader, and there is not even a G2, and there is disagreement on all the fundamental short-term, medium, and long-term issues. So there is no global economic and policy governance.